So have you ever wanted a build that just feels powerful versus those elite enemies? Well, this is the build for you. You have a lot of damage, and as you guys are seeing, this is heroic content. And look, they just can't put any damage. I'm literally standing here waiting for them to do some damage. They can't even get through my bonus armor. And a lot of you guys might wonder, what builds am I running that I'm able to actually just sit here, take damage, and just keep getting bonus armor, and they can't even get through it. So as you guys are watching a little bit of the gameplay, I'll be showing you guys a full build breakdown in a second. But obviously this build, you guys probably noticed, there's something that is protecting me against those elite enemies. Yes, this is a protection from elites build that still puts out a lot of damage. I was trying to find a good balance of damage, protection from elites, and then obviously, you know, that allows me to take out those red and purple enemies first, and then I can focus the gold enemies, because that is going to be your weak point in this build when those red purple enemies start to push you. So if you guys are excited to see the build, get ready, because we're about to show you. Make sure you guys drop a like on the build if you enjoy this type of build, and if you're ready to feel like a god in the Division 2, well, this build is for you. As you guys can see, typically taking this much damage, you would lose your armor very fast, because you guys know how hard heroic enemies hit. But look at it, just chunks of armor back, and then we can just focus on the enemies and clear out the area. But yeah, let's get into the build and show you how I have this set up. So for this build, we are running the King Breaker, and you guys probably saw this thing was still hitting. And what's crazy is we have so much survivability on this build. The fact that we could just stay there and face tank those enemies, as you guys were seeing, all comes down to being able to have weapons that allow you to do that too. So we have the King Breaker here. He has 112,000 damage, 22% expertise on there, so we're getting additional 22% weapon damage. So obviously that's going to help out the build. We have assault rifle, health damage, and 10% damage to targets out of cover. Obviously we have perfect flatline on here. What that does, it's going to amplify weapon damage by 20% to pulse enemy. So obviously you need to have a nice chunk of base weapon damage so you can amplify that, right? And then after 2 kills, applies pulse to the next enemy you hit. Now we are running the technician class because we want that link laser pointer, and we don't have to worry about running any other class because we have enough protection from elites, as you guys probably figured out. Yes, so we'll see in a second. So we have crit chance on the optics, we have a 20 round mag on the magazine, and then we have 5% crit chance on the muzzle itself. Now you compare that up with whatever secondary you want. Scorpio's always a great one to put on there. Remember, the Scorpio has that talent called Septic Shock, and it works great for PvE, or some people use it in PvP, but it works great for this build. Now if you want something that gives you some type of armor on kill, you can run any weapon that has like preservation. You could even run something like the mop that gives you 10% armor on kill, plus you could stack preservation on it. Just a lot of different ways you guys could run it. I'm going with King Breaker Scorpio as my go-to. So we are running the chill out mask, the Gilligar mask. Now if you don't have this mask, you can just run a regular Gilla mask, but I will tell you, you won't be able to run this extra protection from elite slot. For this one, we have 170,000 armor, we have 12% critical damage, we have 12% protection from elites, and then another 12% protection from elites. So like I said, if you don't have the chill out mask that gives you 2 mod slots, then you need to run an extra piece that's going to allow you to run another mod slot, and I'll show you guys that in a second. But overall, if you guys have this mask, ideally this is what you guys want to get, because it has armor, crit damage, protection from elites, and protection from elites. If you don't have the chill out mask, then what you could do is just farm a regular Gilla mask, and then just put crit damage, crit chance, and then protection from elites, and then run 12% protection from elites, or 13% if you have that, on another piece. We go here, we have the closer chest piece. It's going to give us 5% total armor, so that's total of 10% total extra total armor because of the Gilla piece and this. Now we have 170,000 armor on here. We have critical damage, critical chance, and then 13% protection from elites. So you want to make sure you stack protection from elites on this build. So a perfect spot it does is it amplifies total weapon damage and skill damage by 20% to pulse enemies. You're going to be amplifying your total weapon damage, so that's why you want to have regular total weapon damage on this build. For the holster, we have the improvised holster. What this is going to do, it's going to give us the ability to run a mod slot on our holster. So we have armor on here, crit chance, crit damage, and then we have protection from elites. So these improvised pieces can be crafted. You can craft this at your vendor. So you just go over to the crafting station and then you can craft them. It will take you a while, but hopefully you get some lucky rolls and then you don't have to use that much to optimize it. We have our improvised knee pads, same thing. You have to craft this at the vendor. We have armor, crit chance, crit damage, and then protection from elites. Now, for the next piece, you'll see we don't have an improvised piece, but if you don't have the chill out mask, you either have to do two things: run a pulse and then switch your specialization to the survivalist, or you need to run an improvised piece here. I was lucky enough I can run the Fenris gloves, so we have assault rifle, weapon damage, crit chance, crit damage. So that's ideally what you can do and still be, because the cap for protection from elites is 80%. So I'm going to be sitting at 73%. If I had maxed out mods, I'd be sitting at 77%. So you guys saw it was enough protection from elites to do this. Now, I paired that up with the Matador. The extra 5% on the weapon damage is going to allow me to hit harder. I tried it with a Cheska piece. I had more crit chance, was sitting at 60%, but I was actually hitting a lot less than actually stacking weapon damage on the build. So I have about 50% crit chance now, and I hit harder with this. And this has a talent called Perfect Adrenaline Rush. What this is going to do is whenever you're within 10 meters of an enemy, you gain 23% bonus armor. Now, if you have 3 enemies, you're gonna have 69% extra bonus armor for 5 seconds. That's a lot of bonus armor, especially sitting at 1.9 million. We have armor, crit chance, crit damage, and then protection from elites. So on this build, you guys will want to have protection from elites on every single piece except the gloves. But if you don't have the chill out mask, then you might have to run the gloves, or you need to run the survivalist. That's something you're gonna have to decide there. For the skills, I am running Defender Drone. So this is where I was saying that you could swap this out if you don't wanna run this, but this is giving me 30% damage reduction, right? So that's on top of that protection from elites. Because remember, the protection from elites is gonna help against all the gold enemies. You still need some kind of protection from the red or purple, and that's what the Defender Drone can do for you. Now, if you don't wanna run this, like I said, you can run the Striker Drone. But if you guys want to run some type of skill damage, you can just put the assault turret up and then let that put out damage, and you'll be doing more damage there. It's really up to you, but I actually run the decoy. I just throw it out, and that way I can just run around. But overall, this build is a beast. I'll show you guys the stats real quick. We have 50% crit chance, 116% crit damage, 75% headshot damage, 21% health damage. We have that 10% damage to targets out of cover. And then if we go over, you'll see we have almost exactly 1.9 million, 1.891. And then we have, if you look right here, 73% protection from elites. If we got the extra 4% because we have maxed out 13%, we'd be at 77. So no real reason to actually have to run anything else. This is going to work on any kind of content that has a lot of elites, because those elites will hardly be touching you. As you guys were seeing in the gameplay, they don't really do anything. The hardest hitting enemies are going to be the red or purple, so you have to focus those guys first and get it. Now, thing with this build, you guys need to make sure that you guys push the enemy, because you want adrenaline rush to proc, so those enemies have to shoot through that armor first. And think about it, if you constantly have that, it's already taking them forever to get through it. They shouldn't be doing any damage to you. So that's why this build works. Probably one of my favorite right now to run when I don't run something that's just pure damage or something that's just like melting enemies. If I want something that has a little more survivability, I can make more mistakes, this might be a playstyle that a lot of you guys want it. It makes you invincible. It's a godlike mode build, and I think a lot of you guys will enjoy it. We're gonna wrap up the video here, guys. Hey, I appreciate the support, appreciate the love. See you guys in the next one. Hey, nothing but skills out.